Do you want somebody to take a recent tragic event and make a movie out of it starring Mark Wahlberg? Call Peter Berg.
We've got to decide who's running this, and we have to decide quickly.
If it's terrorism, it's yours, sir.
Gentlemen, the moment we label this terrorism, everything changes. It's not about Boston anymore. It's not a local investigation. It's Wolf Blitzer, it's stock markets, it's politicians. Knee-jerk reactions, anti-Muslim backlash. And what if we're wrong? I mean, there's no take back. I've been through this before.
If we don't call it what we already know it is, and a cell is activated and they hit Chicago or New York or Washington, what happens then?
The accusations are going to come no matter what we do.
Patriots Day tells the true story of the Boston Marathon bombing that happened just over 3 years ago. It tells the story of the police, the FBI, the first responders, and the survivors, how they came together to figure this thing out and stay strong as a community. Is it something even this recent that we can make a good movie out of? Well, Peter Berg wants to do it. Here's 5 things you might want to know about Patriots Day. Man, Peter Berg knows how to make these movies. This is another good one. Let's start with this. It's a powerful, true story. That's the foundation of any movie like this. You can tell true stories, but if there's not some sort of power or honor underneath them, I don't think they move you quite as much. But there's definitely that here. It's great to see some of these people lifted to the spotlight, to see how they acted that day, what they did. I think that's well worth honoring, well worth knowing, and I think the movie is much better off because we get a true sense of who these people are and what that day was like. I think it makes it even more powerful. One of the other things I have to give the movie credit for is how it captures that essence and tone of kind of the Boston community. Beyond what happened that day and the tragedy of the marathon bombing, you're dealing with a city who has a very unique atmosphere compared to really any other city I can think of. I think of maybe New Orleans has that unique of an atmosphere for being a specific city. Maybe New York City, but it's such a conglomeration. My point is to capture that isn't always easy. Now, I'm not from Boston, so I wouldn't know like the exact particulars on that. I think some of it has to do with Mark Wahlberg, who is from Boston, and he does get that. But I think everybody worked together to capture the spirit of this city in what the phrase Boston Strong really means. And I think it serves the movie very well and keeps you in it in an authentic way. Now, those are legitimate things to talk about when you're talking about how a movie is going to hit you, right? Like it's a true story, comes from a very real place, but we haven't talked about movie making yet. That's really great here too. Peter Berg has this incredible knack for taking a story where you kind of know what's happening. We know what happened at the Boston Marathon. We know a lot very specifically of those events because it just happened 3 years ago. And yet he creates suspense and tension even though you know what's about to happen. So I think we're dealing with something here where he uses what you don't know about the situation to really build those moments. And so then you start to question yourself, well, did this really happen this way? Could this happen another way? So you fall in love with these characters in these moments and what's going to happen enough that you're invested even though you know the outcome. I also can't continue without mentioning how well the acting serves this movie. These actors are doing phenomenal work here. John Goodman is wonderful. Kevin Bacon, who, by the way, never gets enough credit for how amazing an actor he is. He's great in this. Michelle Monaghan is wonderful in this. It's kind of her weekend with Sleepless being out as well. And J.K. Simmons I want to bring special attention to because we know J.K. Simmons is great, but he's great here playing a little bit of a different kind of character for him, much more nuanced. It doesn't feel like the J. Jonah Jameson thing that he's done and the Whiplash thing that he's done, you know, that kind of strong, gruff thing. So I really appreciated that, and he does such a great job. Without those performances, I do not think this movie hits as well as it does for me. The one negative thing I will say about Patriots Day, a movie I really enjoyed, it doesn't get as personal and deep with these lives as I think I wanted it to. Now, that's understandable, right? You're dealing with so many people involved in what happened that day. Not just, you know, the victims and the survivors and the first responders, but you're also dealing with the machinations of the FBI and the police force. And I don't think you're given enough time to really deeply care about any one person enough to feel the depth of that impact. Having said that, I think the movie does make up for that a little bit with the fact that it's a true story. So you get that depth just by knowing it actually happened, even though I would have liked to see a little more depth of the people themselves. Overall, though, Patriots Day is a wonderful watch. It's good to remember these things, whether they're recent or far in the past, and to bring to light some of the stories of that day. I gave it an A-. Thanks for checking out this Your Movie Friend review. We'll get to the best ever challenge here in a bit. Before we do, I want to let you know if you want to connect, I'd love that. We can connect on Twitter. I'm Aaron Dicer, AARONDICER. We can connect through podcasts. If you listen to podcasts, you can search for SiftPop, SiftPop. Just search for that on wherever you play your podcast. You should be able to find it pretty quick. We do pop culture every week on that. And you can also connect here at YouTube. Subscribe, leave comments. We have a good time with this community, and I'm glad to see you becoming a part. Let's get on to the best ever challenge. This is where we name the best movie ever in a particular category. You can also try to guess my choice. I'll give you a clue. Let's go with the best Peter Berg movie ever. Now, he doesn't have a huge filmography, but he has a few. This will surprise some people, but I'm going to go with the one where Will Smith actually made a good superhero movie. Of course, many people will debate that, but I think so. Take a guess at mine in the comments. Leave your choice there as well. And as always, here's 5 extra seconds to hit the subscribe button. All you got to do is click the logo right down in this corner.